Hey guys, my name is Brooke and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about internal beliefs. As I've started showing up more honestly online and letting myself kind of do my thing, I've noticed some really strong internal reactions. And I've started to just kind of slow down and pay attention to these. And there's three patterns in my thinking that just keep surfacing. So I want to talk through them today, mostly to understand myself, what's happening internally, but also so that I can start to process them a little bit better and start to challenge them a little bit more directly. So the first pattern is if I'm not good immediately, I'm probably not cut out for this. And the way that this shows up for me is that I have this thought that if I'm not good at something, I'm not confident right away, that's a bad sign. And if it feels awkward or messy, then I'm probably forcing something. And if it was right, if it was the right thing to do, I would probably already be further along. Not even probably, I would be further along. That's what this belief is telling me. And this belief is deeply, deeply, deeply in my nervous system from growing up as a kid who was intelligent. I did really well in school. Academic studies just suited my smarts really well. And so I got really good grades. But it also meant that I kind of ended up in this box almost where the things that I did were always things that I was naturally good at. And so this included things like piano. I started playing piano when I was 3 or 4, and I was pretty good at it. And so I just kept going for, the next 15 years, 16 years or something. And there was this narrative around how I was a really talented musician and how I could pick up any instrument and be good at it. That's not actually true, but I was able to play a range of instruments that were all kind of within one category. But when I think about it now, I can see how even the instruments that I chose aligned in a certain way to be instruments that I would be good at. So, I started playing guitar and then I started playing ukulele because it was very similar. I started playing clarinet and then I started playing the saxophone because it was very similar. And I got a lot of praise for being naturally good at things. And what this meant for me as I grew up was that I started relying more on my innate talent or my innate kind of skill instead of persistence. Another area where this showed up actually was basketball. I played basketball. My dad was a basketball coach, absolutely loved the sport. And so I got into it as well. And I was good at it. And so I continued doing it. But I never really tried other sports. And potentially if I had, even in gym class, if I had, I wasn't that good at them. So I never did it any more than that. Same thing with art. I always had this dream of being able to paint, but because I tried it, I remember in grade 6, I tried it and I wasn't good at it. And so I didn't sign up for art class. I didn't do any art ever. It honestly has only been in the last year that I even realized that this story was happening. And so I intentionally talked to my husband about it. And then he bought me a paint by number so that I could challenge that very specific belief because I had wanted to be someone that could paint, but I didn't think that I had that skill. So I didn't. And I had never really developed the skill of being bad at something and then continuing at doing it and gradually getting better. Everything that I did just fit into this belief that I'm going to be good at it right away. And if I'm not good at it right away, then that's just not for me. It's just not one of my things. And so I just kind of let that go. And that has come up so much in the past couple of weeks since I have started posting on Instagram, since I've started this YouTube channel, since I've started writing on Substack, where I'm learning how these different platforms work. And I don't have a big I don't have any following. It's just me. And it's brought up a lot of those feelings of, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not good at this. And if I'm not good at it, then should I even be doing it? Should I even be pursuing it? Which logically I understand doesn't make sense, but it's still playing in my mind over and over and over. So learning to me actually feels threatening almost. It feels like when I experiment with something, when I try something for the first time and I suck at it, it's like that's the verdict for me. That's the end final decision. And it's really interesting to think about how much this has played out. I can even think of another example where I went to my sister-in-law's birthday party and we did a paint and sip, and we were making these mugs. And I actually had a panic attack because I was so stressed about what color to choose and how I was going to make the colors go together, because I didn't know if I was going to make the right choice, and I didn't think it was going to look good, and everyone else's looked so good. I was paralyzed. It was wild. And I can see now why that was happening, because I'm starting to bring this belief into the forefront. But for a while, I just had no awareness of it. And all of my decisions were kind of, guided by this belief on, okay, just make sure you stay over here, you're good at this, and everything else just kind of faded into the background. So belief one, if I'm not good at it immediately, I'm not cut out for it. And that is just not true. The second internal belief is that if it doesn't work, that says something about me specifically. So to me, failure feels really personal. It feels like if I were to try and not succeed, that would be foolish. And I feel like this might be one that a lot of people resonate with, because we have such a distorted understanding of what failure even is. I think the way that the school system works, even everything that you do, it's either right or wrong. You have these assessments where you need to say things and do things and perform things in a certain way for it to be deemed correct. And if you go outside of that, it's wrong. Unfortunately, that's not how the real world works, but it's how we're kind of conditioned growing up. And for me, hugely, the outcomes that I create are fused with my identity and how I see myself. So this has made it really tricky for me to try anything new and to be okay with sucking and to be okay with being awkward and cringy and whatever else, because if I am that way, that says something about who I am in a negative way. And that's been a tricky one for me to untangle. And I mean, I'm saying this not from the other side. I'm saying this from inside of it right now, where I am really just starting to bring these things to the surface and really starting to examine them more closely to figure out where did they come from and why are they showing up and what is it actually costing me to continue letting this belief tell my story and choose my life and, orchestrate my reality. I have to let them go. And the first way to do that is by talking about it. So that's why we're talking about it. But I do feel this massive pressure to just get it right. And, I look at other people that are doing it and I'm like, well, they got it right, so I should be able to get it right. And of course that makes no sense because the people that I'm looking at have done this 10,000 times already. But it's real for me. It's a thing. And I think it's a real thing for a lot of people. And I do think that it's the cause of why a lot of people don't act, why they just sit and think and overthink and overanalyze and then end up just wondering, what if, instead of just acting and iterating. And one of my favorite analogies to think about when I'm thinking about this belief and really trying to challenge it is, I don't know if you've read the book Psycho-Cybernetics, but in that book he talks about a missile and how when the missile fires, it knows its end destination. It has a very, very precise location that it's headed to, but the entire time that it's actually moving, it's course correcting. But it's moving. Like that's the key point, is that it is moving forward and it just course corrects. So it's like it makes a decision, not quite right, makes a decision, not quite right, moving back and forth, little adjustments here and there until it reaches its destination. But it has to be moving in order to do that. And if I just sit and overthink, then I can't course correct because I haven't done anything. So I have to be willing to make those mistakes. I have to be willing to fail and also to reframe that failure as data, because that's all it is. It's a course correction. I get some data and then I go, oh, that wasn't exactly how I wanted it to go. Now I'm going to change one degree and I'm going to go this way and I'm going to get a different outcome. And then I'm just going to keep moving and I'm going to keep going. This is a lot easier said than done though. And like I said, I'm still in the thick of this, but this is a really big internal belief for me. And it's one that I am actively trying to change. Now, the third one is kind of related to these two, but this belief I've only really just kind of identified in the last few days, which is everyone else is already ahead. So what's the point? What is the point? Everyone else is more polished. Everyone else is more confident. They already know what they're doing. So even if I improve, even if I do put myself out there, and even if I do get better, they're improving too, which means they're always going to be ahead of me. They're always going to be better than me. And so is there even a point in trying? But this belief assumes that progress is linear. So that if someone starts 5Ks ahead of you, that as you move, you're going to be moving in the same speed and that, it's just going to stay the same all the way along. But progress isn't linear. Progress can be nothing and then it can, shoot up really quickly. And this belief stops me from recognizing that. And it also leaves me in this cycle of just constant comparison, which is not helpful because then again, I get in that cycle of overthinking and not actually acting. So this one's really been important for me to kind of dig into the past little bit as I've started this journey, because with those two other beliefs of thinking that I need to be good at it right away and that if I fail, it reflects on who I am as a person, this one shows up in a way where I feel as though I need to be able to do the thing really well, really fast, to keep up with everyone else, to push past everyone else, and to, exceed everyone's expectations, exceed my own expectations, because that has been the pattern for me. That has been the praise that I've received throughout my childhood, was exceeding expectations and being naturally good at things and just having this innate level of talent that has carried me through. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not ungrateful for that. Obviously, I'm very grateful that I have had those experiences, but I also can now see how much it constricted me because I made decisions that stopped me from trying new things. I made decisions that stopped me from taking risks because I was so scared of what they would say about me if I didn't get it right. So here I am, trying to work through these patterns, trying to work through these beliefs and challenge them. I don't have them resolved, but I think naming them and talking about them has helped me see really the root of where they've come from, how they've shown up in my life, and how now I can take that power back little by little, iteration by iteration, and I can keep moving forward, knowing that they're there, but also being more intentional to go, that's not my story anymore. That's not my dominant belief anymore. I refuse to let those beliefs dictate how I'm going to live my life moving forward. And I refuse to let those beliefs stop me from going after what I really want, even if it does mean that I'm going to be bad at it, that I am going to be awkward, that I'm going to make mistakes, that I'm not going to be polished. I'm just going to do it anyway. And those beliefs are still going to be there for now, but I am going to change them. And I'm in the process of changing them. And this video is one of the first steps of doing that. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your morning, wherever this recording finds you. And I will see you in the next one.